Hey, so we're back again.
Mm-hmm.
We will be getting to our possibly final,
Possibly penultimate.
yes, game of the top 16 of Worlds.
But first,
Yes, we have a giveaway.
yes, it's that time again.
Yep. So post in the chat feed,
Mm-hmm.
hashtag system refresh. Do it, and we're going to give you about 2 minutes here.
We got 2 core sets to give away to 2 lucky winners who post hashtag system refresh in the Twitch feed.
2 lovely, lovely new
2 winners,
revised
2
core
core
sets.
sets, 2 minutes.
Yes, 2, 2, 2.
Too fast, too furious,
2
too
Netrunner.
Netrunner. I don't know, we got nothing.
It's been a
long
long
day.
Yes, it has. But yeah, real excited about those revised core sets, as we've
Indeed.
said. That will be cool when that comes out. You know, and the other nice thing about the revised core set is if you're just playing like, you know, kitchen top Netrunner,
Yes.
it's just a better core set.
It is. It's got very little of the kind of new player intimidating cards that make for a rough game, like Account Siphon or Astroscript or what have you. Noise was really hard to play against as a new player.
Yeah.
So it's a good retooling. It's a friendlier core set. It's a deeper core set tactically in a lot of ways.
No Yogg.
Yeah, no Yogg.
But
no
also-
engineering the future,
Right,
which is
but
nice.
Here's the other thing that's interesting
No
too.
Kate.
It's lost a lot of bad cards.
Yes.
Like cards that you just would never
Just
play.
junk. It's true.
Yeah. You know, stuff like what was in there? There's the what was the corp one? Whereas you had to if an agenda was scored that turn, you could pull a card from R&D. Intimidation. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Didn't
that one
have-
was rough.
Yeah, you
Executive
never played that
Retreat was pretty rough too, to be honest.
one. Executive Retreat? Was that? Or are you
Was that
thinking
core
of-
set? Was it? What am I thinking of? The one where you had to shuffle your hand back into your deck, and it was a 5/3.
Oh.
Not good.
No, not good.
Not good. In fact, usually bad. Usually you didn't want to lose your
You
hand.
didn't want to do that.
Yeah, no, that was generally poor.
No, what had posted bounty? That was one of the ones. That was always kind of a.
At least that had its uses.
It had its uses,
That
but-
had its uses. That was pretty good in a
But-
Wayland kill deck.
But I mean, you instead get to have Project Atlas.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing.
Atlas is great.
So many cards that you'd like would have thought were in the core set.
Right.
Weren't actually in the core set.
Yeah, well,
I
they
mean,
got-
Atlas, Brain Trust. Yeah. So Beal, yeah. So those are. It's just.
They
a
make
better,
more sense.
Yeah.
They do.
So if for some reason you've tuned in and never played Netrunner, I mean that's.
It's a great time to do it. The card pool just
Yeah.
got way smaller. The new core set is a fantastic jumping off point.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, or even just casually, you know, just pick up that revised core set when it comes out.
Yeah, I intend to, just for the sweet alt art.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's an exciting addition to the game. I think it's a much friendlier time to get into Netrunner than it has been at any point over the last few years. So
yeah, definitely.
looking forward to hopefully an injection of fresh player base.
Yeah. So and a new cycle starting too. As
Yes.
Well.
Yep.
Very soon here we'll have the first pack of the Katara cycle.
Yeah, looking forward to that. All right, we got some winners. We have DJ Catastrophe 3
Yes.
and S_C_D.
You're the lucky winners. So yeah, we will get those to you. You have just won a revised core set.
A copy of our home game.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, we are almost ready to go here.
Yep, we got our players setting up. We got a battle to this. Let's talk about these decks. Well, we've seen Gregory in action a whole bunch.
Yeah, we're seeing his runner again.
We've seen Wilfy's Haley. Have we seen Wilfy's CI? I'm losing track.
It blurs together.
It's all Haley and CI as far as the eye can see. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we had Dan in there.
he was in there
Dan
for a
was,
minute,
Dan was
keeping
rocking
it
the
lively.
PU and
Keeping
the
it lively.
Val.
Yeah, a bit of a shame. Dan's last couple of games, he got some tough breaks, but I easily could have been PU Val in the finals versus CI and Haley. But that is not the world we live in. The world we live in is full of Shapers and Haas Bioroid.
But still some variety. Like we
Definitely.
I mean, we keep talking about Gregory's crazy Haley deck, but then we also Wilfy, his CI deck.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. You know, even he, Diverger in there.
Well, one thing that's very different is it's a deck with ice in it.
Yes.
Unlike Gregory's, he's got Fairchild. He's got a Fairchild 2.0. He's got 3 Fairchild 3.0s. He's got 2 Architects.
All
he's
the
got
Fairchilds.
an Ichi, a Bastion. So it's it's a deck with some actual an Enigma. It's got some gear checks and some actual scoring servers. It's not trying for a pure combo.
Yeah, and we'll see how Gregory's deck fares against this. I mean, with all the silver bullets in there, like Gregory definitely could disrupt combo decks. We'll see how he does against something that's less combo.
This is just straightforward, Does that Aesop's deck have the just economic power to get through?
Well, and
it doesn't have multi-access.
That's what I was going to say.
At all.
Yeah. Well, it has the
has
turning
2 copies of Turning Wheel.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me that that has been enough. It's really impressive, but I would not have guessed that.
I mean, that just goes to show you how much
indexing seems like such a no-brainer.
Yeah, how much piloting matters.
So the U.S. versus Australia, a real-world finals here.
Yeah. So,
and money.
Hedge fund right off the bat, of course. He has got to make his money.
And here comes...
Oh, that's going to be real annoying for Haley. A scarcity of resources.
Yep, that's not good. Not for an Aesop's deck.
No.
Great opener for Wilfy.
Yeah, we'll see if Haley tries to just randomly score an agenda to get rid of it.
Why not, right? Hey, there's that gear check we were talking about.
Yeah.
Just keep Haley out.
Yeah.
Why not?
Vanilla Ice. Yeah, Vanilla Ice. Also making some money, Gregory.
Ice, baby.
He's got a lot of programs in hand. He's got his trope in hand.
Yeah, gotta have that trope.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it's for in this particular deck.
For recursion. He doesn't have a levy, remember?
I suppose a one-off trope is all he's got to work
Alex,
with.
There's your heartbeat. It's in there. I don't think it will matter.
I don't know that he needs it, but hey, it's luck. Heartbeat for luck.
Yeah, heartbeat for luck, man.
And MU, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing.
But an Astrolabe would be
he's gonna need the MU.
better.
Not yet. Not for a while.
Do I use the click trackers for this turn? Yeah. So for the stream, it's
All right, so he's popping the hyperdriver.
Yep.
And he's going to use some click trackers.
And hey, there's one Inti in this deck, which would help get through that vanilla. But until some sort of breaker shows up, he's going to be locked out of R&D pretty effectively.
Yeah.
So and that's great. Those zero cost ice can really slow you down.
Yeah. No, he has drawn into at least a Gordian Blade in there. That's not really what he needed, though.
I don't know that Gordian's going to... Well, Gordian, there's Fairchilds.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to need
nice
it.
To have
he's going to need it eventually.
There's an Enigma.
But right now, his biggest problem is that scarcity of resources. Because he has a Aesop's in hand, which I'm sure he would love to play.
Well, yeah, it's going to...
He can, it's just going to be expensive.
Yeah. Is it coming out anyway? Yeah, what are you going to do, right?
I mean, he was hoping to maybe pull an agenda out of HQ, I would imagine.
Would be nice.
Yeah, and there's that heartbeat hitting the bin. It's just not going to help him. Not going to help him this game.
No, but it's there for luck.
Right.
Well, and it doesn't look like Greg has any currents either.
No, which is another rough thing. Again, if you're not playing Anarch, it's a little tough to have decent currents. I mean, there's always Employee Strike, which is a great option, but it's on the restricted list, right? So if you're running Aesop's, you're not running Employee Strike.
It's true. Got a Jeeves out already. Dipping down to 6 credits is potentially dangerous, but I'm sure there's more money cards.
Yep. He's gonna...
Well, this is really interesting.
Yeah, that Jeeves is letting
There's
him...
the money. I was like,
yeah,
you don't want to get too low.
He didn't know what he was doing there. So there's Misdirection getting trash for some money from Aesop's.
Yeah. That scarcity is brutal. That is really rough when your entire economic engine is driven by Aesop's.
Yeah, and we're going to...
And resources.
Again, this is very specific cards can counter very specific decks, and it's very hard to know whether or not to include those hard counters. It's so much of a meta call.
Well, the one thing is that, yeah, Greg had to spend to splash that Aesop's out there, but he's got a lot of just zero-cost programs, hardware, stuff to trash. It's not going to be a disaster.
That's true.
It's
as
not
we've
totally
seen-
reliant on resources.
As we've seen, Gregory, more than a normal Haley deck, is not reliant on playing resources
No.
in order to generate econ.
No.
He can do it with just these zero-cost programs.
Now it is going to hurt. He's got daily casts. He's got pro contacts. He's
Very
got
true.
all kinds of stuff in there that he'd love to play.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But he's also got caches.
yeah, and that's what he'd rather play.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Parisias.
Yes, this is true.
Which is,
Speaking
and
of-
tropes and just whatever, you know. There's it's good.
It's hilarious that he has trope.
I love it. I mean, it's good to have scarcity out, but it's not going to cripple him like it would other decks.
No, but I mean, I'm just looking at his hand. He's got the sacrificial constructs in there, which are good to have out. That's just even if he's not worried about losing programs, like that's just fodder for Aesop's. He's gonna have to deal with that scarcity of resources somehow. I'm sure he'd like to just steal an agenda. HQ is iced up now, and just that vanilla is just keeping him out of R&D.
I know. Well, see, this is what I was saying. Like, having 3 vanilla is just the right call. I mean, Greg's got it too, right? In his cerebral image. Yep, 3 vanilla.
Yeah, it's
And,
a great
yeah.
piece.
Why not? Cost you nothing.
Yeah.
If it stops you for X turns, you've already succeeded.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen a little more quandary around too. I mean, that's another great it costs 1, but for that gear check.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just that vanilla costs nothing.
Yeah, sure. Nothing is
better than 1.
Yeah, exactly. I'd
And
rather
there's
pay
no
no money than
there's-
1 money.
There's no parasite. Quandary's not going to really solve the Almachina problem.
True.
So, or Almakua? I have no idea if I'm saying that right.
Amkua?
Amkua?
Amakua?
Amakua? Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah.
Well, Greg's got to win 2 games, too, because Wilfy's sitting on an extra life,
That's true.
essentially, with this
Yes,
double elimination
Wilfy is
format.
undefeated. Yeah,
Al
Greg-
Machina. Ex Machina. Turtle. Just call it Turtle.
Just turtle? Cool turtle.
Cool turtle.
Yeah. It's you just swim in the ocean.
One of the
swimming along,
stronger Netrunner
filling up
animals.
viruses. Oh, yeah.
Certainly better than that killer whale eating the internet.
Yeah, no, Darwin.
Killer whale with legs.
Yeah, for all of his legs and teeth, is not as powerful of a virus animal as Amkua, unfortunately. So we're hitting HQ. There's the Bastion. Man, Gregory's gonna need his Inti here.
Oh, yeah. Got to get that Inti out. Well, that's the trouble with Gregory's deck. Again, we talked about this. He's just got to dig for stuff.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Well, I mean, he's got SMCs.
Sure.
If he can stay up on credits, he can certainly afford. And he doesn't have an SMC in hand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's got to go digging.
True. You know what else he doesn't have out? He has not gotten his professional contacts. That's hurting him. Every draw he's taking is a credit he's not making without that professional contact.
No, I know. It's true. He's not getting cards in the order that he has been so lucky to get them in previous games.
No, he has not. And I mean, for example, imagine if he'd had the Astroleva instead of the.
Oh,
Heartbeat
yeah. All
right
this
now.
horizontal would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, so he's got a size. So that's
Smash
good.
through
He
this
can-
Fairchild.
He can get in there.
Then side, can we mark that that's this server?
Yep.
Is the Hedgehog going to come out? What's he got?
What's he,
No.
Just a real boring token. Yeah, help him out there, Will.
So, Wilfy is...
There we go.
Oh, very nice. Now, is this just a lure? Is there anything good in there? We're going to find
Well,
out.
he's played 2 cards in there.
Mm-hmm.
He may be. There may be a Stinson in there he's protecting.
Yeah, that's true. He's got to get in, though.
Yep.
Oh, clever.
Double.
Double Stinson.
Yeah.
And why not? And you can't trash one or the other will get you.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
clever.
that is clever. Nice. Yeah. Wilfy though. Does Wilfy have any money? Oh yeah, it's on his card. There
Yeah,
it
he's got
is.
8 credits.
He's got 8
Not
credits.
a lot,
That
but
is not
it's
a
not
lot
nothing.
for CI.
He's got a rezzed.
I mean, he had to
He's
res
got
the
he's got
Bastion.
res Jeeves. He's got res Bastion. He's got res Fairchild. He's doing
Bastion-
fine.
Bastion is an interesting choice for a CI
Yeah.
deck.
Do you think why Bastion not Wall Static?
Well,
Just to get around.
it certainly is going to be
Almakua?
expensive. Well, yeah. Also, Inti doesn't want to have to break a Bastion. I mean, that's not cheap.
Yeah, that's true.
That's real
It's true.
annoying. But as far as a gear check goes, like, I mean, that was 4 credits versus, as we've said, a vanilla is 0.
Yep. But it's all of it's working. It's keeping him out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Gregory is in some trouble here.
Gain a credit and Violet.
Yeah.
Woof.
For 5.
Yeah, Gregory has
CI
to
just
be,
so dominant.
Yeah, Gregory has to be careful not to drop below 6 credits, because otherwise then
5,
those
10 in hand.
Stinsons are going to fire. There's no...
Yeah, just the threat of Stinson is enough to make things really miserable.
Right, and I mean, Wilfy, he doesn't have any ultraviolets in his discard pile, so a Stinson is not as gross, but you don't want to replay the Violet
I mean,
levels
Violet's
either.
bad enough.
That's true. Yeah. No, Gregory just does not have the board state right now.
No, did
Nothing-
not come out of the gate strong like he usually has here.
Nothing to trash with Aesop's. I believe he had a cash in hand, so he has that as an option.
Wilfy kind of just breezing his way to the top spot here, and he has a whole extra life if this turns south.
Yeah. Oh, so now Gregory has drawn into a couple good tools. He's got
Yes.
the professional contacts. He's got an SMC.
Yes, he can start making stuff happen, but he's taken so much tempo hit to get here. Wolfie's really nicely set up at this point.
Yeah, like we said, like Wilfy, he's got ice in the deck. He's got just, you know, he's got all the clearances. He's got Stinsons. He's got Jeeves. It's just very
Sometimes
straightforward.
You just draw well.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that's part of the built-in advantage of CI. It benefits so much from those clearances.
Oh, clearances are nasty
because, I mean,
cards.
it's giving it money, which is increasing its hand size, which means that extra draw is just cards in hand. No having to discard anything. And this is just with the violet levels. He hasn't even played an ultraviolet level yet.
Yeah.
Two hedge funds right away too. So yeah, he's sitting pretty good. He's spent a lot of that money.
Yeah.
On
But
Jeeves, on Bastion,
It's
on
just
Fairchild.
gonna go up. You
This is
know,
true.
and that ice isn't going anywhere.
No, and like we keep saying, like that scarcity of resources is rough. Another, like say, one of the Val decks with Hacktivists would have just gotten rid of that immediately. But Gregory doesn't have a current.
Advance before my third click. Res. Any actions?
Boof.
Yep. So he's just gonna keep those. So that is just an obvious trap. Or, I mean, it's not a trap at this point.
No, he's just gonna take your money.
Yeah. Well, Gregory knows exactly what he is. He just knows that's the cost of going in that server now.
Yep. And he doesn't even have to fire it. He can just like let it sit there, take all your money. Why
Yeah,
not?
Exactly.
That's just ruthless. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
You come in and trash that, Stinson will get you. That's tough.
Yep.
What do you do?
So
What do you do?
What do you do in Gregory's shoes? I'm not sure what the right play is.
So he's getting out some click trackers. He's probably going to do some shenanigans here. This is, yeah, again, can't make mistakes here. Both players have to be very deliberate about what they're doing.
Tough choice for Gregory. And you can tell he is feeling that strain.
Doesn't want to drop too low in credits to trigger those Stinsons.
For the cards in my hand and that. But yeah,
Okay, so do I just do it one at a time?
So
Yep. So 2 to break SMC? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, yep.
All right.
Just gonna make some more dough.
Yeah. He really doesn't want those Stinsons to turn on.
Well, the nice thing about Cash is that he can let it sit there, and he can sack it in response. But Wilfry is just going to be able to drop him low enough to fire a Stinson on his own turn unless he does something about it.
Yeah.
That's just mean.
We've got a Gordian out now.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, so let's see.
I'm good. I'm gonna leave it on the cache.
He's just gonna leave it on there.
And we've gone all soft focus for a minute
There
there.
we go.
Romantic.
Yeah, that was. We're viewing this through the eyes of Michael Boggs, and that
Yeah.
was his eyes welled up with tears at that moment, and it created that.
It was
little
just,
bit
it
of
was
blur
so
there.
beautiful. It was
Yeah.
all so beautiful.
It's just a beautiful moment of Netrunner.
This is such a mean combo.
Yeah, well,
really
this is
like
just-
it.
This is just CI.
Yeah.
Just being CI.
Well, but you know, played really well. Like he set up this
Oh, yeah.
server to just pressure Gregory, and it is working.
Yeah, it's working very, very well.
I don't think Greg has much of a chance at this point, just
Well-
given how much pressure he's under.
But as we keep saying, Netrunner is a game of hope.
Advance twice.
It is.
It's
It
always
is.
hope.
But this is, you know, this is Gregory running into his own kind of hard counter because Gregory's style is very deliberate. He only wants to run when he has a nice setup. He doesn't have multi-access to sort of luck his way out of a jam.
Right, he has not drawn the turning wheel. Either of the
No,
two turning
he
wheels.
well, that's what, you know, when you only have 2 in your deck and no tutoring.
Yeah, yeah.
And this reversed account's just sitting there.
Yep.
That's, I mean, a lot of people would fire that right away.
Mhm.
Make sure you get it off. But Wilfy is on top of the world for a reason, and he's waited so that he can trigger Stinson
Yep.
and absolutely just demolish Gregory's board state right here. Not only take away Gregory's money, but fire more transactions for himself
Exactly.
and get stronger.
Mhm.
Because he's had to dip down to like very few credits to make this happen.
Yeah, he has.
But now he can pull out, you know, the hedge fund and make it work.
and just straight up get 9 credits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
really
whatever
use
you,
that
whatever's
format.
comfortable for you.
I'll just have it that.
trying to figure out where to put a card removed from the game. There we go.
works.
Yeah, all right.
Gain 10 and lose 1.
Gross. Yep. So he's able to just, you know,
And
go
that's-
up and down
that's
as
Stinson,
required.
And that's
Mhm.
Stinson, yeah. And
What a
that's,
nasty
that's
card.
that's also why Gregory didn't want to spend all the money on cash, because it could just go away as a part of the reversed accounts.
Mm-hmm. Very, very mean.
Yeah, so now
Very mean indeed.
yeah.
No agendas yet, but looking good for CI.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, just as a reminder, no one actually has any points yet. So, you know, it's still anyone's game,
Install.
Theoretically.
theoretically.
Install same
Gregory's got tricks. He's certainly hurting for just cards on the table, targets for Aesops.
Well, the problem is, he doesn't have any breakers and he doesn't have any money. He's got
Yeah.
2 code gate breakers, which is not what you want.
No, he needs Inti, but in order to use Inti, he needs money. In order to have money, he needs to have targets for Aesops. But unfortunately, a lot of his targets, again, as we commented on earlier, he's got targets that are not resources.
Yep.
He still has resource targets, and all of those are not worth it to play with
Scarcity of resources, crushing him.
Exactly, and he just did not. He
Crushing
tried,
him.
He tried early on to get like a random access.
What are you going to do?
Maybe
right?
hit an agenda and get rid of it, but with no currents in his deck.
Well, and it's funny, like, no deck can do everything.
It's true.
And this deck did not protect itself against currents.
No, it really didn't.
And sometimes that'll just get you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's a little rough on shapers as far as currents go. They generally have to pay for it somehow.
Yep.
Um,
They have some, but they're not very good.
Yeah, and it's tough. Do you include them just to have a current?
Unlikely.
I mean, I've done that. Traffic. I've played Traffic Jam. It can be okay. You
Net
know?
celebrity.
Yeah, I
Eh.
mean, net celebrity. I mean, if you're an aggressive runner,
Yeah.
it's not bad.
It's
That's an extra credit.
okay-ish.
It's okay-ish. Yeah, there you go.
You know?
Seal of approval. Okay-ish. Alex Davey. Yeah, Wilfy's got he's got quite a few agendas in hand, but again, Gregory
Gain
just
three.
he can't actually get through a bastion.
No. Nope.
Yeah, so...
Well, and Stinson is basically making your floor 6 credits. You don't
Yeah.
want to go below that. So you
Right.
essentially have 3 credits to work with if you're in Gregory's shoes right now.
This
which
is true.
Just about nothing.
Yeah, and we've got austerity on the table too, so
Oof.
that's going to just count up. Another piece of ice in front
Look
of
at all
the
these
Fairchild.
resources that are useless.
Yeah,
Sat
I mean,
constructs are money.
yeah,
literally.
That's literally money you can't
So that
get.
helps a little.
The daily casts, the
Useless.
it would just be such a tempo hit to install the
Why
professional
bother?
contacts.
Why bother? It's not worth it.
Yeah, this is
Tough.
just like how Gregory shut down the CI kill deck with just a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting just shut down by the scarcity of resources.
Yep. Scarcity, sort of big-ish ice, the kind of like combination glacier offensive assets
Yeah.
with austerity policy and Stinson and reversed accounts.
Yeah.
A Jeeves that's not going anywhere, which is just
No.
adding tons of
No,
efficiency.
Gregory can't afford to get rid of the Jeeves.
Just gotta, it's tough. Do you just go fishing for an agenda? Where are you gonna get it? You can't get through those barriers.
That's the thing. He needs to draw. In order to draw, he needs to either just click to draw or just bite the bullet and install the professional contacts. But that's such a tempo hit. With
Just getting squeezed to death.
yeah,
he's just
gonna
doing it.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Now, scarcity only applies to the first resource each turn, correct?
I believe it.
So if you play multiple resources, you can kind of work around it to an extent, but it's still such a brutal tempo hit in the early game.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean, that's what he's got. He's so behind the 8 ball because of that. Nope, it's just straight up
Yep.
resources cost 2 more.
Yeah.
They're barely worth playing at that point. What a nasty card.
Nasty, nasty card.
Alright, so let's do the third
I mean,
round.
that's still a credit gain for him.
So 5
Yeah-ish.
Ish. I mean,
The pro context is going to help a lot.
No, he didn't play it.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
What did he play?
He played
He
a daily
played-
cast and he played Councilman.
Oh,
So
Councilman.
Councilman, he's just going to sack Councilman to
Money.
Aesop's, right? So that's just a wash.
Well, you get nothing out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nothing we can do.
But at
You
least
get a credit.
You get a credit.
Rough.
Full
Yeah.
advance.
Rough.
Again, click, yep.
But again, it's Haley. It wasn't a click.
No, it's a credit, but, it should have been 3.
Advance
Yeah,
once.
exactly. So here we have Wilfy scoring, and he's scoring an efficiency committee.
1, click
Ish.
So that's going to help him out. Efficiency committee, not as great to score
there. Use
as
that, get another click.
elective upgrades.
Still great, though.
But still good.
Resident
And he's
TN,
just going to go ahead and use some clicks.
no actions.
Because why not?
Yeah.
He's going to use up those extra clicks. He's got another austerity out.
This is, this is a very old school Netrunner game where you're just starving the runner.
Yeah.
You don't see this much anymore.
No, well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, runners have so much econ. They lost a lot of econ from rotation.
They still have a lot.
In a good way. They still have a lot. It's just that Wilfy has played the worst possible card.
It's a good meta
for
call.
Gregory to have to deal with it.
It's a very good meta call.
I mean, somewhat of a meta call, but also just like, it's a
It's a
good
mean card.
current,
Yeah, it's a good current.
right? Like it's
Yep.
maybe the current to play unless you're trying to do some sort of ELP.
Well, it depends. If
know,
if Magnum was the popular meta thing, it would be very useless.
Yeah,
It's-
this
but
is
it's not.
true. But yeah, exactly.
Levy's the card everyone's playing,
Exactly.
and in this particular case, Aesop's, which is kind of surprising, but
Lose 1.
very vulnerable to this CI deck.
Level with
Yeah. So in that sense, yes, it is a good meta call. But in another sense too, I mean, like
draw 4.
it's not that hard of a call though. It's not like some secret tech or anything.
5,
It's just good.
10, 12 and a half.
So yeah, Wilfy up to a lot of credits, 23 credits. He said 12 cards in his hand, so not that he really needs to protect his hand with a lot of cards anyways, since unfortunately Gregory still has no barrier breaker. Can't even get in if he wanted to. Oh, he's got an SMC in hand.
I'm wondering what he's saving those sacrificial constructs for, because those.
Oh well, there's scarcity of resources out.
Well, they're hardware, aren't they?
No.
Are they resources?
Yeah, SatCon is a resource.
Oh, I thought they were hardware. They seem like they should be hardware.
Yeah, but they're not.
But they're not, which is too bad for Gregory.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeesh.
Yeah, this is again though. I don't know how much time we have left.
No, but I can't see Gregory clawing his way out of this. This is a deep, deep hole.
Yeah, Wilfy needs to keep a lead, not make a mistake. Gregory, yeah, he's on his back foot here.
Mm-hmm. Just the cards came out in the wrong order. You know, if Gregory had dodged that scarcity of resources, gotten his engine rolling, this would be a different ballgame.
Yeah. He wasn't really in a great position to do anything about the scarcity of resources. He took a random run to see if he could hit an agenda, but I mean that's it. And then it was just too late.
Well, you know, it's Gregory's turn to sort of be behind the hard counter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he was sitting pretty in that heartbeat game, but
Oh yeah.
this is what happens. You know, there's enough variance in these tournaments. There's enough matchups. There's so many games that you have to play.
Yep.
Sometimes you just run into that thing that shuts you down. There's a chink in every armor.
That's true.
And this is definitely not what Gregory wanted to see on the table across from him.
No, not at all. Yeah, it just goes to show you, like, just one-off currents are so important. I mean, I say one-off. He could have one in his deck, and it could be at the bottom. You'd never see it. But
How much scarcity does he have? Let's see. Just one.
Oh, really? Wilfy only has one.
One scarcity of resources came out at,
Man.
well, one heartbeat when Gregory won that game.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Yep.
This is true. And this is, again, why, I'm surprised to see a Haley deck without Artist Colony.
Yeah, it is a little surprising.
Yeah, so Wilfy scoring some more. There's the elective upgrades. He is.
Oh, it's all over now, Gunga Dan.
He's in the position to win it.
Your turn, you have 4 clicks.
So he's getting rid of the Psy. Yeah, it just doesn't have the options he wants. Now, he could install SMC and make the stim hack run and use the stim hack money to pay for playing something out of his deck with the SMC. That's an option. He just needs to get that scarcity of resources out of there. But he may not even have the time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to go for Claude, it looks like.
Drop.
I don't know if it's going to help him much,
No.
but it's at least something.
Yeah, at this point, you're right. He can't even afford to pull a breaker out with SMC. He needs that for the clot.
Yeah, I mean, he's got SatCon and SMC, so he can keep Claude up, but I think it's just, you know.
Yeah, he's trying to stay in the game.
Well, yeah, and more credit to him for doing that. It's just it's hard to imagine how he could pull out of this nosedive at this point.
Right.
He just started at such a deficit with sacrificial or with scarcity of resources in play like that.
Yep.
And knowing it's a one-off in Wilfy's deck, Wilfy really caught a break.
Yeah, it's true.
No problem.
So Wilfy is not trying to fast advance. Again, we don't know if that's maybe a reversed accounts, but I mean, I think he's banking on the fact that Gregory just wouldn't be able to get in.
Yeah.
And even if he does, if Gregory steals an agenda,
Who cares?
yeah.
He's going to spend so much money doing it, you just put another one in there.
He's going to drop below 6
Yeah,
credits.
yeah,
Stinson
no.
is going to fire.
You just drop another agenda in there and say, okay,
Yeah.
come in again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we don't even, maybe you caught what the outermost piece of ice in that server is, but if it's just another barrier,
Well, he can burn the SatCon, I guess, but again,
But now he's lost his. Now he can't.
there's no clot at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You
I mean
can't fire
this
clot.
this game is.
Oh, and here's the
he's
other
got a
thing.
stim hack.
Clot is in his hand too, so it's even more expensive because he'd have to Haley it out. He'd have to install something with.
So what is coming?
With
That's right.
He's firing it to do something.
Yeah, he's firing the SMC.
Paid 4 already, right? Well, only 2.
I haven't paid for the program.
Yep, sure.
Okay, so he's going to do Da Vinci.
Yep, of course.
Okay. Not what I was expecting.
Yep.
Well, he wanted to get the clot out.
Sure.
He's triggering a Haley.
Yep.
But he's now used his SMC.
How's he
and
going to get into that server?
Still no barrier break. Well, here's the thing. I mean, he has Gordian.
Yes.
Um,
He's also only got 7 credits.
he also only has 7 credits. So, yeah, this will be interesting.
Well, he's going down fighting. I'll give him that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he is not just letting Wilfy win, that's for sure.
No, and if he'd been able to snag an agenda early on, if he'd been able to get rid of that, we'd be in a completely different situation at
Randomly
this point.
scoring an agenda, I mean, not only would be points, but the scarcity of resources.
Mostly
would be
just
gone.
getting rid of scarcity of resources. That's a risky run if you don't have currents though.
Yeah.
If a bad current comes out of a deck that has good ice
Yeah.
and that can keep you out,
Mhm.
ouch.
Yeah.
Res, any actions?
I haven't seen a lot of Soul, speaking of currents.
True.
But I imagine that deck would do all right in this meta. It's, again, it'll be interesting to see the total breakdown of different decks and IDs here at Worlds once this is all said and done. So he is making the run. And yeah, by the way, it turns out that was not an agenda.
Was it another reversed account?
It was.
Gross.
5, any hand.
Austerity keeps counting up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Clot is out though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to do a double purge to get rid of it, which that's probably not worth Wilfy's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gregory's going down swinging. I mean, he knows all the right plays. He knows what he's doing. He's just not getting what he needs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he would love to install that professional contacts, but oh, that tempo hit of 7
Sorry, run out of
resources.
time. Yep. Sure.
Yeah, we'll get a time check here in a second if we could. Yeah, both players having to make very deliberate choices here. Wilfy doesn't want to lose it. There's always that chance.
No, I mean, why blow it at this point? You're set to win Worlds.
Yeah,
Take as much time as you need.
exactly. He only needs 2 more points. Unfortunately, he can't just fast advance.
Up to 5 clicks.
So here we go.
1, 2,
5 clicks.
4.
Oh, so they've got plenty of time. They've got 28 minutes left.
This should be in another server.
Oh, sorry. I
No
thought
problem.
this
It's
is
fine.
Dave's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're definitely they have plenty of time here to be very
Okay,
deliberate
yeah,
about what they're
Dave's
doing.
click.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so
Especially Wilfy. He's got 5 points. He just
Yeah.
needs 1 more agenda.
Yep.
There's another SatCon. Every single one of those costing 2 credits,
yeah.
which is just mean.
Did you pay 2? From
So
scarcity?
the install cost is increased by 2, and so the install cost of my SatCon is 2. It's not as
Ignoring
it's
the
not as
install
it
cost.
doesn't
Yeah,
say
you're right.
as
You're
much.
right. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so Da Vinci does bypass the scarcity of resources.
That's useful.
Let's go.
That's going to keep clock going a little longer.
Install. Res. Click it.
Yep. How about another austerity?
Yikes. Well, with austerity, with Jeeves, I mean, eventually he can just purge and not really suffer.
This is true. That's what he used the first austerity for there. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure he'd love to have a Cyberdex,
5.
Certainly.
Hand drop.
but in
Purge.
lieu of that,
Click.
austerity will get the job done
Mm-hmm.
without taking too much of a tempo hit. Yeah, Wilfy, I'm sure he would love to just be able to fast advance something right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Gregory is just hanging on to that clot as best he can.
But not a lot of options on the table
No.
for Gregory.
Yeah, he is down to just the clot. He's lost 2 SatCons, and I don't think has anything else in hand. Yeah, he's just hard drawing here.
It would have been so much different without scarcity. Look at all those resources he would have been able to play. The lack of pro contacts is brutal. The lack of
how much money has he paid just to get resources out? Too much.
6, 8 credits.
Oh, more than that. Yeah, I mean there was a daily cast in there too.
True.
That he paid for. So there's austerity, and I assume going to purge.
So purge.
Yep.
Gain extra Jeeves click.
Yep.
Use elective upgrade. 4 clicks.
Yeah, so here we go. He's got 4 clicks. Install, advance, advance. There's a Vitruvius.
Very well played, sir.
Yeah, and that's game. That's Wilfy winning worlds.
We have a new world champion,
Yeah.
Australian Wilfy Horig.
He played some amazing Netrunner.
He sure did, and he a match in top 16.
No, that's very impressive.
That I don't know that has happened in a while.
Yeah, he's an extremely deliberate player.
Mm-hmm.
No mistakes made.
No, not a 1.
Yeah.
No, great draw, admittedly, but really tough deck.
Oh yeah.
Really well played. Some very clever stuff in there with reversed accounts, with the double Stinson.
I have bad news. We're not going to get a full bleed of Heartbeat.
That is rough.
We'll get Scarcity of Resources instead.
And Brian.
And Brian.
Full bleed Brian.
Yeah.
Just glad handing away.
So, yeah, very excited. So we go CI and Haley. So yeah, we're gonna do a Michael Boggs interview coming up here.
Michael Boggs will interview.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know when
finalists.
that is. We'll switch to that when we're set up. But kudos to Wilfy, also to Gregory.
Yeah, and to Gregory. Like every single game that Gregory played, you could tell that he was in the top for a reason.
Oh yeah.
We watched him crush it twice with that Haley deck
Yep.
and just finally hit a roadblock.
Yeah.
We watched him 4 times, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
That was pretty impressive.
All right. So.
Well, that was a hell of a world. I gotta say, I'm really
yeah, that was
impressed
great.
by the meta. There's a lot of CI, there was a lot of Haley,
Yes.
but a lot of variation within those themes.
Right, and like just to reiterate too, like a lot of it was the effect of rotation and the ban list, restricted ban list on factions,
Yes.
and how those factions were able to sort of congeal into what worked. And it was just more obvious for what was good for HB and Shaper.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And with given more time, I'm sure we'll see other factions. We did see PU represented very strongly.
Yeah, a little. I mean,
And
I'll be honest. I did not expect that much PU. I thought we'd see a little more egg infusion.
We saw a bit of egg infusion.
Polana, and but
Couple egg decks in the top
couple
16.
10 in though. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like I say, the actual fraction breakdown.
Yeah,
the ID
every
breakdown.
faction in the finals except for Wayland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
We had a
that
criminal,
sounds about
we
right.
had Anarch, we had Shaper up the yin yang.
And speaking
Haas.
of,
We actually had 3 competitive corps, which is unusual.
Yeah,
we had
no.
competitive NBN,
Yep.
competitive Haas, and very competitive Jinteki.
yeah, and
So
when
that's very
there's
cool.
4 different court factions, and 3 of them
Yeah.
were well represented. That's great.
And Wayland was doing fine in the tournament. It just didn't quite crack the finals.
This is true. Yeah, and
Again, in this way, it's one of those things with Wayland that they export all their best products.
true,
They
it's
really
true.
do.
And-
Brian hanging out in CI,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and we saw a fair amount of criminal doing exporting too. Like they've got
Oh,
good
yeah.
cards, but they sometimes have a little more obvious fits in these other decks. But no, exciting to see Val being played.
Yeah,
without
Val-
Some
we-
of her old tricks.
We got to see her go on a tear and just come up slightly
yeah,
short against
yeah.
against Greg there.
Definitely, and I was real pleased about that Sunny deck earlier.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That was exciting.
Clock
Talk
to
about
win. It
some
must
deck
have gotten
diversity.
taken out at some point there.
Yeah, but it still did such a good
yeah,
job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was It was competitive. It was a competitive Sunny deck.
My only
great.
regret is not seeing that self-tagging max
I know, we
deck
wanted to
because
see
it was
that
a thing
max
of
deck.
a thing of beauty.
Yeah, well,
To be sure, I'm gonna have to dig around for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, real exciting fun. And again, with these CI decks, it can be a little monotonous because they'll play it the same for quite a while. I mean, they're all going to play the
Yes.
clearances. A lot of them are
Yeah,
going to have
they're gonna
stints
make
in.
money. They're gonna draw cards.
Right, but then they can pivot into just completely different things. You can go
Yeah.
horizontal, you can go
Yeah.
glacier, you can go kill. I mean,
Yeah.
the fast advance, yeah.
And just seeing it across, I mean, obviously the top 16, you have access to published lists, but
Right, yeah.
earlier in a tournament, you don't necessarily know what you're sitting across from.
Yeah. Oh,
If you
yeah.
haven't, and if you haven't done the research, you hadn't put the time in, you don't know if it's a kill deck, you don't know if it's a fast advance deck, you don't know if it's a
Well,
glacier
and with
deck.
so many players here,
Yeah.
you don't know. what
Can't-
all
you
of
can't
them-
keep track of
can't
all
scout
that.
all those
No,
players.
no,
no.
no.
So yeah, again, and that is definitely rare. As I said, it's not uncommon in these things to have like particular IDs
Yeah.
or factions really well represented in
Yep.
the top. Metas just sort of decide what's good. But what is rare is having that much diversity within a particular ID.
Yeah, that is what's really interesting. You don't see that a lot. There's generally, it coalesces around commonly accepted best practices.
Yeah, for that ID, it's usually
And-
pretty clear, like, what's the best thing for that ID.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap, obviously. There's some core cards in here, but you see vastly different agenda suites.
Oh, and like
Vastly different ice.
exactly.
Just the fact that there were 2 successful all mythic decks
Yeah,
is fascinating.
That was cool.
Well, we are going to go right to the interviews now. We've got Michael Boggs lined up to talk some Netrunner with our 2 finalists and hand out some trophies. So
Yeah.
we're going to cut to that.
All right.
Check it out.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Here is the playmat. So what were your thoughts going into the game?
This round?
Yeah.
Well, I felt like I had a not great matchup. I had played against Wilfy earlier in the day on stream, and his deck is really well positioned to threaten anything at any time. The reverse accounts, Brian Stinson interaction is absolutely phenomenal. It forces runs that cost the runner credits even if they're not advancing their own win condition. And my deck is very opportunistic, so I was very concerned about him establishing a lock early, and that's why I was making those runs really early to try and force him to spend his credits, but it didn't work out.
Do you feel like there was any specific turning point within the game?
Oh, absolutely. It was the scarcity of resources, man. My deck is almost, I believe it's 45% resources, and the whole point is play zero-cost resources, sell them to the Aesop's pawn shop, and hopefully get a professional context down at some point to start exploiting the fact that card is generating essentially 2 clicks of value per click. Never had a chance to do that when the scarcity came down so early.
Yeah, that makes it difficult for sure. How do you feel about the tournament overall and your performance in it?
Oh, it was absolutely phenomenal. I didn't expect to make day 2. Being the runner-up is an absolute privilege. Everyone I played today was such a gentleman. Netrunner really has one of the most phenomenal communities.
I definitely agree. How have you felt that rotation and the removed and restricted list have affected the game?
Well, other than Kate being removed from the game, which is the worst thing that's ever happened, I think that the game is in a phenomenal place right now. We're seeing so much diversity on both sides. I'm really excited to see what the upcoming cycle has for some underrepresented strategies right now, like criminals. Hopefully we'll be getting some nice boons. I'm loving everything that I've seen so far. So, I think that you did a phenomenal job with the rotation and most wanted list. You definitely entered the state at a really complex and troubling time for the metagame, and it's just so much fun to play right now. Every game that I had today was an absolute blast, tons of interesting challenges, lots of back and forth.
That's amazing to hear. Thank you for saying that. Well, great job today. You did a wonderful
Thank you so
job.
much.
Thank you. Wilfy, hey, how you doing? Good. Congratulations. We have this for you right here. That's What were your thoughts going into the game today, into the final round?
So into the final round, I had played against Greg before, but I was runner and he. I was co-op that time as well, and that time the game was mostly about running him through a remote server that was really taxing and hoping that was good because I'm playing a Stinson deck, so hoping that I could get him low enough and without bleeding too many points. And in that game, that strategy sort of came together perfectly because I was able to run him into my Stinson on the remote when there was only one thing there, and then again the next with the next card that was installed in that remote. Yeah. So that worked out really well, and that I think was my main game plan was to do that and hope that it worked well, that he ran where it was good for me that he ran and didn't run where it was good for him that he didn't run.
Sure.
If that makes sense. It's a bit confusing.
No, that's a good strategy. That's a good strategy. Did you feel like there was any specific turning point within the game?
Yeah, I think that very complex turn with reversed accounts and Stinson, where I res the Stinson to make him use the cache and then got to reversed accounts and Stinson. I think that was a turning point because getting a Stinson fire off is even, especially when you get 2 in 1 turn, that's often can be the end of the game.
For sure. I actually thought it was very interesting how you were using your biotics to fire off those different assets and stuff. Most people use them to fast advance, and I thought it was a very interesting line of play to sort of do something different.
Yeah, well, I figured because he had Clot, it wasn't going to be so easy to fast advance, so I really needed to get value out of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
While I could.
Yeah, definitely. How did you feel about the tournament overall?
It was great. It was really well run. It was really good to see everyone. Coming to World's always a lot of fun. In terms of my decks, obviously they performed about as well as I could have expected, and the tournament was really great.
Well, that's awesome. That's always good to hear. How do you feel about the meta as a whole with the with rotation and the restricted list and the remove list?
Yeah, so I will just say firstly that there's a podcast called The Winning Agenda where you might be able to listen to some. We actually interview someone about that. But so maybe listen to that. It might come out soon. But
shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Oh, but in terms of my thoughts right now, I'm really happy about rotation. It meant the metagame was really wide open, and I think we saw that pan out.
Well, that's really good to hear. Well, congratulations on your win. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Oh, also, we've got this for you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Surprises.